Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at how you can complete the Joined Forces category challenge in the LGE the LVE event, the Fighting Legend Vegeta event. So basically guys, we are going to be taking a look at how you can obviously beat this challenge. Now I am actually using a Majin Buu Saga team. I find it to be the most effective team overall. So yeah, I think it's a pretty solid choice. Obviously the lead of the Majin Buu Saga, or one of the leads of the Majin Buu Saga, is a Joined Forces unit. But it's also, it's also pretty interesting because there's actually quite a few decent Joined Forces units. Now, the actual leads for Joined Forces category are the Golden Frieza Angel and Android 17. You also have the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken duo. You have Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla and Super Saiyan 2 Kale. Both of them, or all three of them, are pretty solid options. But me personally, I like this Majin Buu Saga team. I think it's pretty solid overall. So in terms of units, what we have is, we have the free-to-play Int, Gohan, and Videl. So they're very solid units. Obviously got their EZA relatively recently on Global April. So really not too long ago, and they're pretty solid. They have attack and defense of 158%, defense of 20% with each attack performed, up to 58%. They also have a great chance of launching 2 additional attacks, each of which has a great chance of becoming a super, so they can fire off quite a few attacks in one turn, and they also raise their attack for 9 turns. So they're a very good damage dealer, and they're a very solid free-to-play option to utilize. Then alongside them, we're also using another free-to-play unit in the form of the Great Saiyaman 1 and 2. So this is Great Saiyaman 1 and 2, obviously the EZ8 version. You can get those guys from the friend summon, so you basically friend summon and then you'll get copies of them, and you can EZA them over time. They're pretty solid. They raise attack and defense for 1 turn on their super attack. They cause colossal damage to the enemy, and they seal super attack, which is great. On their ultra super attack, they raise attack and defense again, causing mega colossal damage, and also raise superclass allies attack by 30% for 2 turns. So all pretty solid stuff overall. I want to say they've got attack and defense of 70%. They give superclass allies 4 key and defense of 50%. They also have an additional 58% and an additional attack when they are facing extreme enemies. That doesn't really happen here in the Fighting Legend Vegeta event, so it's not really something too major. But they're a pretty solid unit overall, and obviously I really quite like them. I think they're a nice unit to have floating around. The additional defense is always super duper helpful, especially for a vast majority of players and things like that. So for me, I really like it. I really like what they bring to the table, and yeah, overall I'm quite happy with just them overall. I think they're a good option to utilize. We have one more free-to-play unit in the team, and that is the Dream Pact Future Gohan Teen and Goten Kid and Trunks Kid. Obviously this is the 7th anniversary LR. A lot of people were a bit disappointed in them. I think they do require a little bit of setup, but actually we kind of shirk the system a little bit because we basically just basically stick them alongside a Goku and Vegeta unit, which actually meets their full requirements. So that's kind of my GIMP, in inverted commas, my gimping strategy here. So we basically just set them up alongside Goku and Vegeta, the joined duo unit, and they pretty much handle everything from there. They do a pretty solid job, I want to say. So yeah, for me, I actually really quite like them in that capacity. I think they do quite well. Obviously, they have that additional attack and defense of 70% for 7 turns. Now it's important that we do obviously or are aware of the fact that that might possibly drop down after 7 turns. So we do need to be somewhat aware of that, or it will drop down. So their overall stats will decrease over time, but they should still be more than fine. So generally speaking, quite happy with them, at least in that capacity. Now it's important to also note that the final phase is definitely, or is against, an AGL Vegeta. So we do have to be a little bit careful of how many strength units we have, because we do have quite a few strength units. We not only have both of the Goku and Vegeta leads, but we also obviously have the Trunks and Goten that you just saw me highlight there. The Trunks and Goten are actually a pretty solid unit. They were designed to be more orientated with the Vegeta, of course, the Saiyan Day Vegeta, but they're actually an incredibly awesome unit, and they do bring a lot to the table. They have a hell of a passive, so just fair warning, be prepared for this one. They have attack and defense of 150%, their defense, additional defense of 50%, and a high chance to evade the enemy's attack as the first attacker in the turn. They have a high chance of launching an additional super attack as the second or third attacker in the turn, plus an additional attack and defense of 10% with each attack performed up to 50%. They also gain an additional attack and defense of 10% with each attack evaded. They will gain Ki +2 plus an additional attack and defense of 50% when there's an ally whose name includes Vegeta on the team, and a medium chance of forming a critical hit if that ally is attacking in the same turn. Now obviously we fulfill the Vegeta requirements, because obviously we have the duo card on the team, which is obviously great, but you do kind of want to let them evade a couple attacks, just because you realistically want them to build up that attack and defense as much as possible, and you do it early on while evasion is not locked. So it's a very good opportunity to do it early on in the fight. If possible, I always suggest doing it. Once you've got them to evade the 5 attacks, you can switch them to floating, and then all of a sudden they'll be really, really fine and really, really solid. I actually wanted to bring the Int Vegeta as a friend lead, but I couldn't find one, which is why I actually have the double duo. But bringing it Int Vegeta as a friend lead, especially if you are using these guys, is actually a really good call. Remember, the friend leads don't count, so you don't need the friend lead to be a joint forces unit for you to succeed in the challenge. So yeah, overall, obviously, just a really, really, really good performance by this team. There wasn't really too many issues. Obviously, we're a little bit concerned at this point. There's a couple of things we need to watch out for. Our tech units, obviously, we need to be a little bit aware of where they fall into everything. But yeah, for the most part, we tended to be quite fine. We didn't really suffer too much in terms of our team selection. I think it was pretty strong, pretty valid overall. Obviously, the final unit, before I talk about the major leads or the major friend leads, etc., the final unit that we're running is obviously the Int LR Vegeta. Running them post EZA as well. Very, very good unit in their base form. Super simple unit as well. Attack and defense of 180%, medium chance of critical hit, medium chance of evasion, Ki +2 per rainbow Ki sphere. They will also fuse when you fall below 50% health from turn 6 onwards. They will give you a full health recovery, which is what you just saw a short while ago. They'll have attack and defense of 200%. They will counter normal attacks with tremendous power. They reduce damage received by 30% for 3 turns, and then from that point onwards they'll reduce it by 15%. Generally speaking, with both them and the physical version, the physical LR, I don't see why they made them nerfed after 3 turns. I honestly don't think they were too strong, which is a little bit of a shame, but it's not a huge issue. If I can say that much. I don't think it's like a massive problem overall, and I think generally speaking, everything is pretty solid, at least from my perspective. I think the whole team kind of functions really well, and everything ended up working out pretty well as well. So yeah, everything ran really smoothly. As you can see, just letting the Trunks and Goten continue to build up those stacks, which is very important, and is obviously just going to help them increase their defense. So just continuing to let them fire off attacks, letting them continue to evade attacks, letting them just continue to build up. We need them maxed out as much as possible. Not that they will die if they're not maxed out, but the more defense they have, the absolute better we are going to do in that phase against the blue Vegeta, because that is obviously a big, that is the final phase, and we do have quite a few strength characters, so it is just something to be totally aware of. But yeah, obviously the final unit that we haven't really gone through yet is the Goku and Vegeta. So the strength Goku and Vegeta, the one that fuses into Vegito. Obviously a unit that I would say, due to the high raw defensive requirements, hasn't necessarily aged the best. The transformation, the base form is still very excellent, and I actually find them to be really good. But yeah, they obviously have attack and defense of 120%, reduce damage received by 30%, and have an additional key +1 per type key sphere obtained, medium chance of performing an additional super attack. Then when you transform, you recover 50% HP. You can activate the transformation when HP is 77% or less, so it's a nice emergency backup transformation. Once you transform, you will counter enemies' attacks with tremendous power. You have a medium chance of critical hits. You have an additional key +1 per key sphere, key +5, and foresee the enemy's attack for 10 turns from the start of turn. So it's very powerful. 10 turns from the start of turn is huge. It's literally like being able to see for the rest of combat. So it's very good, and if you time it right with both of them, you can basically have 20 turns of the ability to see super attacks, which is really good. The only shame with these guys is honestly the fact that when you transform, you only have that 150% defense. If these guys had 30% damage reduction still, they'd actually be awesome. They'd be still probably one of the top units in the game. I mean, they already are still very good. I don't want to disrespect them in any manner. I think they're great for a ton of content. But yeah, definitely is a unit that is still incredibly solid and really does a great job. Now, of course, against the AGL Vegeta, we definitely need to be incredibly careful. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to basically want to be able to essentially, like, how can I say, just use the items basically, and if possible transform both Vegetos and just kind of take them out with crits. That feels like the best method to go with it. Obviously, for a lot of people maybe it's not the best, but for me, I just think it's really the best method to go with. At least for me, I think it's really solid. So yeah, overall, I'm actually really happy with this team build. Like I said, I think it all works perfectly fine. I do think there are some risk factors. Definitely this final phase is probably the riskiest, because even with Whis active, taking damage on the Goku and Vegeta, or the fused Vegeta, is definitely still going to cause us quite a lot of damage. It's not that it's impossible to handle. It's not like we're going to absolutely die or anything like that. But I mean, it is still pretty rough, if you know what I mean. It's still a pretty tough time. But yeah, we still obviously have a lot of great control around it, so there's no need to be too concerned. We should generally be quite fine. So yeah, for me, obviously quite happy with absolutely everything that went on, and yeah, for the most part, I'm actually really chuffed with the units and just how everything is working out. So for me, pretty happy. Obviously, if you want to make any alterations, you're welcome to. In terms of joint forces, there's a lot of variability in the team. Joint forces, like I said, if you're running one of the leads, you got a lot of units that you can use. It's a very wide category. It's just linking is sometimes a bit of an issue, generally speaking. But the other really good leads are units like the Kale and Khalifa Tech, with their bond of friendship, etc. I think they're a pretty solid lead. Then of course, You've also got like a fused team that you can run with the LRSS4s. You've got Power Beyond Super Saiyan team or Movie Heroes team you can run with Super Saiyan God Vegeta. There's a lot you can do, but I kind of just really felt, yeah, I just felt like I wanted to run something a bit different, basically, I think is where it comes at the end of the day. I just think that they're a pretty fun team to run like this. And yeah, for the most part, I think they were a lot of fun to use. And yeah, I just felt like it was, yeah, I think it was just a really, really cool kind of category. I think Majin Buu Saga obviously has a lot of great synergy. I think there's some fun units to use here, the Goten and Trunks, etc. And yeah, I felt like it was a lot of fun, for me at least. Maybe you think a better team, or you have a better team in mind, but to each their own, you know, it's just going to depend on yourself and what you like to run. But for me, I was pretty happy with this. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me in terms of everything. Obviously, guys, yeah, if you need any more help or anything like that, you are welcome to leave a comment down below. You can leave a comment in the leave a comment in the comment section, but you can just give me feedback. Generally speaking, yeah, I don't ever mind anyone's thoughts and opinions. I always appreciate that, and I think for most people, yeah, this is a team that'll help, but yeah, not everyone's got a full team of Majin Buu Saga joined forces. I think it's a nice team because there are three free-to-play units that you can run, which I think is pretty good. But yeah, obviously, you know, it doesn't mean that everyone can run these teams. So yeah, if you are obviously, yeah, looking at running anything, etc., I think for the most part, like, yeah, just enjoy yourself and you should be fine. But yeah, otherwise, if you are enjoying the videos, leave a like. I always appreciate it. It's always nice to get positive feedback, or to get some, you know, good feedback or good comments. It just really helps me out. And yeah, obviously I appreciate it a lot when you guys, you know, help me out and give me that feedback. So there's not too many more challenges left for all of these. So I'll probably wrap them up in another video. I think we're pretty much done. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.